process, I want to add my thanks to Graham, to VAF, and to the Learning Set who produced this. I know some of the work that went into it, and to Deaf Connections for hosting us here. I've got 5 brief points that I want to make, and about 7 minutes to make them. The first thing I want to say is that we, as the advisory group and the Scottish Government team, believe in you and believe in what you're trying to do. We have a wide variety of projects, we have a wide variety of target groups, we have a wide variety of methodologies. And some of you know that we looked very long and hard at proposals, and there were rounds of conversation before things were agreed. We were trying to get the best breadth of coverage, trying to get really solid projects. So if you're here in this funded group, it's because we believe in you and we believe that what you're doing has something to contribute to it. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to say is we need your evidence. I've been in your position as a co-leader of community work and community projects, and I know that the demand for evaluation can be seen as a distraction. It can be seen as a regular pain in the butt. What I would say to you is that we're all on a steep learning curve, us in the advisory group, the Scottish Government, as well as yourselves, and we need to know what makes a difference in this area. You are in on the ground floor of something that I think is very exciting, a big initiative, and what we need to do is to capture the learning, and that's what this framework and the work of the development officers is really to help us to do. We regard capturing the learning as a crucial part of your project work. This is not an administrative add-on extra at the end. It's absolutely fundamental, so please hear that. And what you're doing each in your own different little area is going to feed into a much bigger picture, and we are going to pool the information, we are going to aggregate it, so that what might not look too significant in your area, actually it might be part of a pattern that we're seeing when we start bringing the whole lot together. So every bit of learning is really crucial. I'd like you to hear the next point really clearly. We want to know what doesn't work as much as what does work. The section on challenges and changes on the reporting element that is there is every bit as important as the difference you make. It's counterintuitive. When you're in a competition for funding, you always want to put your best story forward to the funders. That's natural, we all do it. But actually, it's really important that if you have tried, you've had a good idea, you've tried in good faith to do it, and the wheels have come off, that you tell us what you did, what happened, and your reflections on it. Because as sure as eggs, somebody else is going to have experienced something similar in a different context. And once we start gathering those things together, we're in a much better position to know what works and to help people avoid reinventing the wheel and going down avenues that we already know from your experience isn't going to work. So please don't be afraid to tell us that you tried something and it didn't work. That's important. The fourth point I want to make, and it's one that wasn't talked about very much in our workshop, I don't know in other workshops, we need your feedback on what sectarianism is. In the middle of the guide here, you have the advisory group's working definition of sectarianism. Now, the important word there is working definition. This is our first stab at getting something together which is unique to Scotland. But we're putting it out there and saying to you, take it, have a look at it, work with it, tell us what doesn't fit, what does fit, what's missing, how you would have put it. We are expecting our working definition to change. And we want you to own whatever it is that it morphs into, in the same way that the rest of the learning comes together. So it's really important that you feed back to us on that, and that you take ownership of the definition, and that we work together to put this into a format that can be used for Scotland. And the last thing I want to say is that your work really does have the potential to shape policy and best practice into the future. This, for us, I'm looking for my colleague Michael there from the advisory group, and Dave, for the Scottish Government and for ourselves as the advisory group, this is not a paper exercise at any level. You are part of a wide-ranging programme. We're trying to capture the learning, which hopefully will help us to move through a problem which has blighted our society for decades, hundreds of years. So, the learning that you feed back to us through this framework will be taken seriously and will be taken forward. And if you remember nothing else from today, please remember that. Thank you.
One more to go, 2 seconds, that's all it will be. So thank you very much to everybody. I won't give thanks to everybody, but thanks to everybody for participating today. What I would say is that hopefully it's become apparent that the way that this programme is working, the way that we as an organisation, the Voluntary Action Fund, likes to work, is that we work collaboratively through a process to get the best outcomes and the best impact for the work. I think that's been clearly articulated by speakers. And this is about you being part of a wider thing in a bigger process, and it is a bit of collaborative effort. So thank you very much for investing the time today and also for engaging in this and actually giving us some really positive feedback and also some questions that we have to take away. Because not everything is perfect. We have to evolve, just as you will evolve and learn from your project. We as an organisation and the programme also has to evolve too. So thank you very much for that. All it is to say is we have lunch at the back of the room. We don't want, because we've got rather a large number of people here today to eat, we could eat at 4:30 if we do an orderly queue. Culturally, we will be wanting to do this in an ordered fashion, so please feel free to want to do that. But those who have asked for specific requirements, those are separate from the order food there. And one final thing is we always like to evaluate everything we do. So within your packs, you will see we've got some, I think, yellow piece of paper, and we're having a very simple way of evaluating effectiveness. If you remember the very set what we're aiming to achieve, what we want to do is, if we believe we have achieved that particular impact, we just put that particular set of paper into the box on the table at the end of the obviously before you forget. And that would be a very good way of saying we know how many people are here, and we know how many